President Bola Tinubu has announced the appointment of Folashade Adekayoja as the Deputy Director General of the Department of State Services, DSS. Adekayoja, who hails from Kogi State, is the first female operative of the DSS to occupy the position. The approval, the first of its kind by any president, it was gathered, seeks to revise the agency's structure for better efficiency. The appointment and ratification by the president was based on the recommendation of the DG through the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu. The president said that the appointment was in line with its extant regulations and unprecedented in the history of the Secret Service. President Tinubu, speaking through the National Security Advisor, NSA, stated that he was not oblivious of the security challenges in contemporary times, charging all security agencies to collaborate for the common good of Nigerians. Joining us on the show to discuss what her appointment will boost, or how her appointment will boost the morale of operatives of the secret police to address some security threats, and her being the first female operative of the DSS to occupy the position, is Mike Ejiofor, a former DSS director. Good morning, Mr. Ejiofor, and welcome to the morning show.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
All right. Okay, so I already asked with regards to what extent. First of all, I don't know if congratulations are in order. As a former DSS director, at least something new, something different, something historical with the DSS, with the first female appointee as Deputy Director of DSS. But what significance would this appointment be? I know we can take a look at her qualifications, her experience, but very importantly, even being female, to what extent would that make a difference?
Well, it's going to make a lot of difference. But before I come to that, I must use this opportunity to thank Mr. President for this landmark appointment, and also thank the National Security Advisor, who supervises all the other security agencies. And finally, I want to thank the DGSSS for taking the initiative to make this recommendation. First of all, in the extant rule, the instrument 1 of the State Security Service, establishing the State Security Service, the position of Deputy Director General has been there. But for whatever reason, nobody has taken the bull by the horn to implement it. I think it's only the DG before the last one that tried to expand the rank structure to get to the Assistant Director General. Prior to this time, most of our officers retired terminate at the rank of director. So you see officers on a particular rank as a director being there for 8 years and more, because there's no more progression for you. But when this ADG rank was introduced, just like you have in other security services, like the police, you have the Assistant Inspector General, Deputy Inspector General, the same thing with Civil Defense, Immigration, and the rest of them. So it was only the SSS that was not following that structure, even though it has been in the extant law. Now, having done that, it is very motivational because it inspires the staff. You have expansion at the top now, because the top was too heavy because there were no room for expansion. What happens now is that you have Assistant Director Generals. There is provision for Deputy Director General, 2 Deputy Director General, but presently is only one that is the most senior and qualified to be appointed Deputy Director General. These are purely administrative issues in the State Security Service, but I have been inundated with calls, people asking why this is, and the DG SSS, in his usual way of, wouldn't want to expose such things to the press, but it's my duty, like I've always done, to at least enlighten the members of the public, because people will begin to have different interpretations. Now, the new DDG that has been appointed, like I said, is the most senior and the only one qualified for now to be appointed DDG. There is still provision for expansion for appointment of another Deputy Director General. And I think as soon as that one is done, I believe the DG will also take the initiative to make such appointments. What does it do for the service in general? I tell you that it calls for celebration even among retired staff. You remember that the president also appointed this DG from within the service. So he has been abreast. He knows the problems, he knows the challenges within the service, unlike previously where you appoint either retired people or people from outside to head the service. So this is very, very inspirational. And I can tell you that feelers from the service, the people are very happy. And you know, when we are talking of gender sensitivity, for her to be lucky to be appointed at this particular time, it tells a lot about the professionalism as promised through the NSA by the president, that is going to make sure that there's professionalism in the service and there's need for us to tackle our challenges. So motivated staff, you can see they become very productive in terms of welfare, and he has come out with a lot of welfare packages. And I think there's so much he has to do, and he needs our support. He needs encouragement from Nigerians by assisting the agency to collect information which will help us in fighting our scores. So it's a very, very welcome development.
It is certainly a welcome development, especially on the gender sensitivity. I know several people are celebrating that. However, I'd like you to clarify a point of conversation that has emerged in the public space, where people are saying that, well, they look at her name and they say this raises some concern about federal character. Yes, she's from Kogi State, but she is Yoruba. And people are saying, how can DG and deputy both be Yoruba? Can you clarify the dynamics around that for us?
That's a very interesting question too, because I've received series of calls, you know, why must it be a Yoruba? First of all, Kogi is in North Central. Kogi is not in the Southwest. The DG is from the Southwest. Besides, like I explained, he is the most senior now and most qualified. So we don't bring politics into this into the service. In terms of appointments of state directors, appointments of ADGs and directors, yes, we observe the federal character appointment, but you know that you cannot strictly follow character appointment over competence and capacity in a service like this. But like I said, for now, either by providence, she's the most senior and the only one qualified now to be appointed DDG. So there's no problem about that. And I think it's one of the reasons I said that, yes, I must explain this, because people will begin to say, the man is Yoruba, he's not. It's God that put him there, put her there, sorry. So it's our luck and divine that she's there now. One, she's a woman. Two, she's the most senior and qualified to be appointed DGG for now.
All right, well, thank you very much. I'm not sure if people would say that it's divine when you talk about federal character. You know, it's a very sensitive issue when we look at it from the Nigerian context. But I hear you, and I do agree with you that if it's in the terms of rank and seniority, perhaps we might not be able to we can be able to justify that. But let's move forward. Part of this appointment, beyond, of course, the big celebration around her being the first female to occupy the position, is the president's desire to revise and to make the agency more efficient. This is one of such moves, one of those moves. And you started earlier by saying thank you and congratulating the president for this move. What are other things that must be done to make the agency more efficient? You know, it's been plagued with some complaints in certain quarters. Some people are saying it's high-handed. Some people are saying, like you've mentioned, top-heavy. What are some of the things that ought to be done to make the DSS more efficient in Nigeria?
You see, I am very much aware that I'm a pensioner from the service. And at least since the present DG came in, my pension has been enhanced. How he did it, I don't know. Welfare of staff is paramount in his pragmatic approach in encouraging staff. Promotions are being released. In fact, it's not in my position to begin to discuss certain issues on air because this is a covert organization and he has come out plainly to say that his operations will now be covered. But I can tell you that he has, within this short period, done so much to encourage and motivate staff in terms of training, in terms of welfare, in terms of promotion. A lot of innovations coming into, and the staff, they are very happy. At least I relate to some of them. The retired people are also happy with him. He has brought in a lot of innovations. And besides welfare of staff and motivation of staff, you can see that there's a lot of collaboration between a lot of collaboration and synergy between the other agencies, which is what is helping us in achieving the results we are achieving now. And you know, when he was appointed, the president did emphasize there's this need for all the agencies to synergize and work together. I'm also in touch with some of the service chiefs who hope that this is a different DG from what we used to have. So it's a very welcome development, and we need to encourage him to do more for the staff and for the country.
Absolutely. Now, I'm glad you mentioned that, the organization is a covert organization, because some people are saying that, okay, was it necessary to publicize this appointment? Does it not, yes, we know who the DG is it necessary for the public to be made aware who the other officers are? What's your take on this new strategy with regards to communicating the structure of the DSS?
Yeah, that's a very vital question too. The SSS did not issue any statement in regards to that. The president approved the appointment, and it was released from the office of the NSA that such appointment has been made. Left with Mr. Ajayi, the DGSSS. I don't think he's interested in it, but it's good that people know that there are some structural development, some structural adjustment within the service. This, like you said in your intro, this is a landmark, and it's a very strategic appointment that should not be swept under the carpet. But I think the SSS did not issue any statement on that.
All right, beyond this appointment, as you mentioned and highlighted, according to the constitution for the DSS, there's room for 3 deputy directors. This is the first step. We have one now. Do you think that it would also help to occupy those 2 positions so as to complete and, like I talked about earlier, even improve the efficiency further? So we reduce the top heaviness of the agency.
You have virtually answered the question. Let me tell you that with the creation of this Deputy Director General, it calls for expansion and accommodation of various groups in terms of federal character. And, before, like I said, when you have the top, very heavy, ending at directors, when you have these DDGs fully appointed, you have one in charge of administration, another one in charge of operations. And I don't know how the third one came, but that's purely administrative. What I can tell you is that this is a very welcome development that will encourage staff. When you have career, there's career progression. When you get to a particular place and you are stunted, it doesn't encourage you, or you bring somebody from outside to come and head this place. It doesn't help career progression. So I think that this expansion at the top will also encourage career progression for the serving staff, that one day you might be not a situation where you have only DG, you don't have a Deputy Director General, you don't have assistant. These are offices that have been created to encourage staff, in their career progression. And if the DG, Mr. Tosi Ajayi, has been selfish, he would have left it as the way others are left. But because he believes in professionalizing the service, he has to expand to encourage people.
All right, wonderful. Now, just in a broader sense, of course, many people are still wishing each other a happy new year. We're still setting our agenda for 2025. If you were to set the security agenda for 2025, what are some of the major things you think we need to focus on this year?
Yeah, I think it's very, very critical that we reassess our approach. And don't forget that it's just new. The DG is new. He's establishing contacts with the service commanders on the way forward. But for me, as a person, we should prioritize the issue of our security challenges. There are some that are political. There are some that we use kinetic. There are some that we use non-kinetic approaches. For instance, we have achieved a lot of success in the northeast until recently that we started having some isolated cases. Then look at the northwest, and you have the issue of Lukarawa. And that also has to be, since their inception, you agree with me that after the first initial appearance, much has not been heard from that Lukarawa. That is because of the activities of both intelligence and security forces. Then you come to the southeast. I think government should take the initiative to have a political solution to the issue in the southeast, especially the issue of unknown gunmen and Nnamdi Kanu. I will strongly appeal to government to use this opportunity to unconditionally release Nnamdi Kanu. Let us see, because people who are killing innocent people are claiming that they are fighting for Nnamdi Kanu. And then Nnamdi Kanu has condemned these issues. He has talked about sit at home, that is not in support. How can you be fighting for a people and at the same time destroying the economy and their means of livelihood? So I think government look at the issues, and I'm happy equally too that the federal government this year, you can see that this is the largest budget in terms of security and defense. And that shows you the much concern the government is showing. But my worry is not just budgeting. I feel there should be proper scrutiny, proper oversight function from the National Assembly to ensure that monies meant for such budgets are used judiciously and not frittered away. I was quite embarrassed, and I think the other day, Senator Adams Oshiomhole brought an issue of establishing school by the military and other agencies that are not related in fighting this. And it was shut down. The Senate president asked questions 3 times, whether they didn't understand what it meant. But they say perhaps they don't want such oversight function. For what reason? Yeah. You are representing the people.
All right.
That's, to me, was quite embarrassing.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much for your time with us, Mr. Mike Ejiofor. You do look extra happy this morning, and we understand the reason for that. Your welfare, benefits, everything on point. And we can see how that has impacted your mood for the new year 2025. Thank you so much for joining us.